As we approach the end of the year, many of us start thinking about what do we want to accomplish? What do we want to work on to continue growing and developing ourselves into the best version of a man that we can be? And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 different things that you can work on that's going to help increase your masculinity in 2025. And you'll want to stay tuned for the 5th and final one because it's an absolute game changer. So let's jump into it. The first area that you want to focus on is your ability to accept whatever happens in your life. And this is all about understanding and coming to the realization that things are never going to go your way 100% of the time, and it's pointless to waste energy and to stress out on things that are completely out of your control. When you start focusing on things that are completely out of your control, you start stressing about things that you can't do anything about, that's when you start to get stuck in life, when depression starts to sink in, or even anxiety, because now instead of being in the present moment, you're thinking too much about mistakes that you made in the past, or maybe potential downfalls that could happen in the future that hasn't even happened. And so whatever place you're in, whatever happens in front of you, you just need to accept that this is the current state. It's temporary, and you just need to keep moving forward because greener pastures are waiting for you as long as you continue taking action. And the perfect example that I can share of why this is so important is when I went through my divorce 5 years ago. For at least the first couple of years, I found it very difficult to just accept my new fate in life. The fact that I was a divorced single father of 3, that I was going to be financially challenged for years to come, and I also had to deal with the stigma in society that divorced parents, especially men, have a lot of baggage, and by default, people just assume that you were an asshole if you're a single and divorced father, which isn't the case at all. And so over time, you start to realize that you have no control over what people think, how people view you. You can only control your opinion of yourself and the actions that you take in your life to continue moving yourself forward and to continue bettering yourself as a man. And one of the most effective ways that has helped me stay present in the moment and stay positive is adopting a gratitude practice every single morning. Every time I wake up, I always thank the universe, God, for having another day, for having everything that I have in order to survive, to be clothed, to be warm, to be comfortable, fed, to be able to travel, and to be able, especially, to support my kids and provide a loving foundation for them to grow up with their father. And you've probably seen this clip around on the internet where someone offers somebody else $10 million, but the only stipulation is that you can have it, but you can't wake up the next day. And the biggest question is, would you still take the money? And everybody, 100% of people say no. And why? Is because life is precious. So when you are grateful for everything that you have, the fact that you can wake up every single day and you have another shot at moving your life forward and creating the life that you want, that's what's going to help you be a lot stronger, more positive, and overall work on this area of your life where now you can accept everything that happens because you know that you have the strength to navigate and keep moving your life forward. So the second area of your life that you want to focus on that's going to help increase your masculinity is your ability to let go of things that no longer serve you. Now, this could be thoughts or beliefs that are no longer true. It could be negative emotions that have been keeping you stuck in a depressed state for a long period of time. It could even be people, friends, or even family members that you thought were close to you, but no longer support or love you in the way that you need them to. And when you're not effective at letting go of things that no longer serve you, not only are you losing energy and time to these things, but most importantly, life can get quite overwhelming to the point where you start turning to different vices to start numbing yourself from all of the pain. And that's typically where you see a lot of folks turn to things like alcohol, drugs, even like sex and hookup culture to try to temporarily numb themselves from what they're feeling instead of actually going to the root cause of the issue and solving it. And that's what a masculine man does. We understand that no matter what happens in life, we're gonna encounter all these different types of challenges. And sometimes the biggest pains that we feel are the best lessons in life that force us to grow in ways that we couldn't have if we didn't go through such a tough and difficult experience. And for those of you who've gone through some difficult challenges in your life, for me, that was my divorce. That was the most challenging time of my entire life. When you come out on the other side, you realize that nothing can truly hurt you or destroy you unless you choose to let it. And in this particular case of being effective at letting go, once you become effective at letting go of things that no longer serve you, you now can continue building momentum to move your life forward towards those things that are gonna make you happy, but most importantly, help you continue to grow into the greatest version of yourself as a man. Now, the third area of your life that you want to focus on that's going to significantly increase your masculinity is your ability to manage your sexual energy and how you transmute it into positive things in your life. Let's face it, no matter where you look, whether it's online or even in real life, there's thirst traps everywhere, and sex is being used to sell pretty much everything under the sun. And I can tell you from my own experience how many years of my life that I wasted looking at a screen, getting off, not chasing my dreams, not chasing that girl that I wanted to be with in real life, all because it was very simple to just have temporary pleasure in the privacy of my own bedroom. Now, for a lot of you who struggle with this, you've probably heard of a practice called NoFap and semen retention. These have been absolute game changers for me, as well as many men around the world, because what it does is it helps you to desexualize your brain. But most importantly, the biggest effect is that because you're not releasing this energy, because you're not wasting time on things that don't serve you, you're now able to transmute this energy into projects. It could be passion projects, it could be hobbies, it could be into sports, it could be even into your social interactions where now you're more present and authentic and genuine in front of people without having this mindset of sex on the back of your mind running 24/7. This is how you stop being creepy when you're around women. They can tell when all you want is the pink palace, or you just want to have a genuine, authentic connection with them. So the best way to work on your sexual discipline and your management of your sexual energy is to go on NoFap and semen retention. And you've probably seen a lot of content online. My biggest recommendation are start with streaks, try to go on a 7-day streak, 14-day streak, and then a 30-day streak, and then build slowly from there. You will fail, but the failures are super helpful that will point out to you what it feels like when you haven't had this much pleasure for a certain period of time, and that contrast between pleasure versus mental clarity. As you get longer streaks, it's going to be easier to stick, and you'll realize how much beauty and how much exciting things have been waiting for you because you've been held back by looking at the screen and getting off to a screen for a long period of time. Now, the other tip that I'll share with you that's going to help you with adopting this practice is get off social media, things like Facebook, Instagram. You don't have to completely delete your account, but you can temporarily shut it down. It was interesting, earlier this year, I shut off my Facebook and Instagram for almost the entire year. I just recently went back on because I started my online business. And what's crazy is that even though I wasn't on Instagram for almost 12 months, my feed was full of all of these thirst traps, even though prior to that, all I was really looking at was tennis, any tennis videos, tennis images, tutorials, and things that had to do with food. I pretty much leveraged the algorithm where I didn't have any like sexy women or thirst traps on there. That wasn't why I went on social media. But after suspending it and turning it back on for almost a year, my newsfeed just reverted back to thirst traps. So there's something in social media that's also trying to capture your attention and implement this mindset of or try to control your mind when it comes to sexuality and take that energy away from you. So if you can suspend those accounts for a period of time, it's going to help detox your mind. It's the same thing when I cut off cable. I just felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulder, no longer having to watch like everyday news, all these TV programs that, no longer serve me. Same thing with social media. Cut it out if you can. Now, the fourth area that you want to focus on that's going to help increase your masculinity is to really work on your independence and your ability to do things by yourself, being comfortable with your own company. I can't tell you how liberating it is when you know that you can enjoy whatever you want in life when you want it without having to ask for permission from somebody, without having to plan with somebody else or work around somebody else's schedule, and still have some of the best and the most amazing experiences possible in your life. And I'm very fortunate. The current job that I have allows me to travel all over the US and around the world. And when I go by myself, it's not one of those things where I only talk to coworkers as soon as I arrive at the venue or at the workshop. I'm talking to people every step of the way, whether it be at the airports or restaurants that we go to or venues for activities or conferences. When you're by yourself, you learn a lot about you, what you like in people, what you like to have, what you enjoy in your own life, but most importantly, that the world isn't actually a very scary place at all, and that your company is good enough and you're never really alone, and that you should never ever have to worry about being lonely because you're your best friend in your entire life. So things to help learn how to be with yourself better, to be more independent is, again, go travel. Even if it's a staycation or locally, go out to some local events. Like, as a perfect example, this New Year's, I bought myself a ticket to go to a New Year's event without anybody. Now, part of it was nobody else could really join me. Some wanted to go, but deep down, I kind of told them late because I really wanted to run a social experiment and see, well, what is it going to be like when I'm going to go to a New Year's party? I haven't celebrated New Year's for over 3 years. And most importantly, I'm going to do it at a brewery, but I don't even drink. So I'm very curious to see how this experience is going to turn out. And if worse comes to worse, I can always just take an Uber home. If people just get belligerent and it's not fun anymore, I can always leave. But that's within my control. So I encourage you to explore your independence, to explore being with yourself, learning how to be within your own company, and learning what you absolutely love about your own life and what makes you happy. And I promise you, it is one of the most liberating feelings that you'll have in your entire life. Now, the fifth and final area that you need to focus on in order to increase your masculinity is a bit of a controversial one. And the reason for that is because there's many men who've chosen to go their own way and have sworn off on this for the rest of their life. And if you haven't guessed it, I'm talking about women. You need to have women in your life in order to become a very masculine man. Now, the reason for this is when you have a woman in your life, and I'm not talking about having a relationship or having a wife. I'm just talking about interacting and just experiencing life with women in general. It could even be friends that you have. Having that feminine energy around you will help you to balance your masculine energy with femininity in every life experience that you have. And as soon as you cut that off, there's going to be an imbalance. Like all these guys who do MGTOW or have sworn off women, or who continue to point blame at women and generalizing them into this category that they're all going to just gaslight you, manipulate you, take advantage of you. As soon as they have what they want, they're going to monkey branch and leave you for another guy. That's a very small percentage of women. I used to believe that watching a lot of content online, but you start to realize when you go out in the real world and you start interacting and connecting with women, again, not with the intention of just having a relationship or dating or having sex with them, but just talking to women as friends and as human beings. There's many women who are the complete opposite, who are very empathetic, who are very compassionate, who are willing to listen to you, who will not weaponize things that you have against you or things that you've shared against you, and they truly want friendship. I actually have quite a lot of female friends locally here that I go and hang out with, that we do activities with, that we do potlucks with. These are women that have created a safe place for me to be vulnerable, to share, some of my toughest challenges in life, and they're able to give me their feminine perspective. They help me to understand things, not just from someone else's perspective, but from a female empathetic perspective. They also help me when it comes to building relationships with women that I want to potentially date. I can run things by them and they can tell me, well, hey, this is what she means when she says this, or when you see this body language, this is what it potentially means. They helped to coach me and to help me understand how to become more effective at just having relationships with women in general. And it's one of the most beautiful things when you have that balance in your life, when you have strong men and strong women in your life, you just feel whole and you don't feel like you're missing out on something because you're not dating someone or you're not having sex with them. Like, there's so many guys out there that just treat women as objects. And I think that's why a lot of guys get a lot of bad rap. But again, that's a small percentage of us. Majority of us are just good men who are driven to achieve our goals, who want to live the best life possible, and also potentially find a life partner that we can have intimacy, companionship, romance, maybe even a long-term relationship or marriage with. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with just having women as friends, because they also help balance out and bring out your masculinity in your own life. And one of the best parts about having female friends in your life is that you become comfortable with just interacting with females in general. So when you do want to approach women for a potential relationship, you'll already have had a lot of experience dealing with women, and it's just that much more natural when you start interacting with them. You won't be coming across as a creep, for example. And that's where, I'll call out the fact that there's so many of these influencers that say that men can never be friends with a woman. And, there's certain circumstances when you don't want to be hanging out with a woman if she's married. Yes, you can be friends, but it's not like something where like you're besties and you're hanging out every other weekend. No, not at all. What I mean is just having genuine friendship with a woman, someone you can bounce ideas off of. If you can do activities, great. Usually it's in a group. Sometimes it's just you and them one-on-one. That's fine, but you need to have a level of emotional maturity in order to have, friendships with a woman. A lot of these negative influencers out there who say that it's impossible, they're just referencing these guys are simps who have no control, no emotional maturity. They think that every woman is out there to take advantage of them, which is absolutely not the case. And, for a lot of these simps that are stuck in the friend zone, hoping and praying that maybe one day she might recognize her, she might start loving him in the way that he secretly loves her. That's a small percentage of situations as well. So don't believe everything that you see. Believe in the reality that there are a lot of women who genuinely want friendship with men, and having these in your life will help create that balance between masculine and feminine energy in your life. So when it comes to having women in your life, you should set a goal for 2025 to at least develop one female friendship for next year. And this could be someone in your existing friend group. It could be someone that you already know. Maybe it's at the gym that you go to. Maybe it's an activity at a hobby that you currently do. But make a female friend. They don't hurt. They're actually one of the best friends that you can have, and they complement your masculinity and will help you understand how to also deal with women as you continue moving your life forward next year. So I hope all of these tips find you at the right time. It's been an amazing year, and I know there's a lot of exciting things waiting for us in 2025. If there are other things that you know of that has helped you develop and increase your masculinity, you can always leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you all for your support, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.